Welcome to the Birth Journeys podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Hoff, BSN RN. I am a wife, a mother of two, and a nurse specializing in the care of women and newborns. In this podcast, we will share powerful journeys of birth givers with the goals of lifting the veil on the birth experience, healing through sharing, and beginning an open conversation to strengthen trust and promote transparency between birthing people and healthcare providers. Hello. Today I have with me Christina Walsh, a New Orleans mama of two. Christina is a licensed physical therapist specializing in integrative manual therapy. Christina and her business partner, Jen Lormond, known together as the Tinkler Ladies, have a combined 36 years of experience supporting women through prolapse, diastasis recti, and pelvic floor dysfunction. Today, we're going to be talking about breastfeeding ergonomics and how to support your pelvic floor while nourishing your baby. Christina, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Kelly. These are topics that are so near and dear to my heart from personal experience, and I love to geek out and make sure mamas have all the information they need to feel as good in their bodies as possible.
I agree. I am so excited about this episode. I live this, I don't live it, but I help my patients every day try to get positioning that's gonna work and not end up causing even more problems later while they're breastfeeding. I literally did this yesterday where I'm trying to push their shoulders back and down and get them in a position that is sustainable and comfortable. And when I heard that this was even a thing, I was so excited. This is going to help me and all the nurses I work with and the new mamas. Like this is amazing. I'm so excited.
So cool. And it's so simple, right? Like that is the thing I think that Jen and I have loved about the work that we get to do, because when you approach something from a more kind of pull back the viewfinder holistic standpoint, it doesn't have to be hard. Like simple little nudges in the right direction make all the difference. And it's like when you just can support what the body was kind of trying to do anyway, tenderly and gently with that simple little nudge in the right direction. It's like your body knows. Your body has so much wisdom, and we can tap into that. That's where the power comes, but it doesn't have to be hard.
Exactly. I am so here for your wisdom today.
I love it. Love it.
So what are the first things that you like to help moms with when they're breastfeeding? What are the things that you want moms to know?
So first of all, don't take this as like one more thing. Because when you are learning to breastfeed, especially if it's your first time, your priority has to be on the latch. Is baby getting nourished? So please don't hear us giving you one more thing to worry about. Focus on the latch, make sure baby is getting nourished. And then once you've got that established, then you can tune into these other things that really will. Look, I think I've read numbers. You can correct me, I'm sure, as a nurse, but I've read numbers that we spend 1,800 to 2,000 hours per year feeding our infants. So, I mean, when we think about that, the position that your body is in for all of those thousands of hours really is cumulative, and it really does matter for the long term. So simple little things you can do include, you were just pregnant, you just gave birth. Your core is going to be weak. And so I remember when I was trying to imagine what breastfeeding would be like before I'd had a baby, I thought, okay, well, this baby's going to be like, 7 or 8 pounds? Like it's going to be so easy, right? But your body has just been stretched to oblivion, and you're weak. And it's impossible to imagine how hard it will be to just sit up straight. You do not have the strength, and that especially in the early postpartum, your core doesn't have the strength. There's nothing you did wrong. It's been stretched. So just sitting up straight is going to be a challenge. So give yourself some support. Have pillows all over the place.
I did.
First, start with one. So this is the first piece. Start with a pillow, like long ways, up and down ways behind your back. Maybe more than one, depending on the squishiness of the surface that you're sitting on. So first, prop up your trunk, your upper body, your middle body, because you don't have the strength to hold it there yourself. So first start there. Then the next step is to prop your feet up. So especially if you are a shorter lady or you're sitting in a higher chair and your feet are dangling down there, it's going to just pull on your back and your hips and your pelvis and pelvic floor, and it's not going to do you any favors. It's going to cause strain and discomfort. So prop your feet up. I know they make cute little breastfeeding stools and whatnot, but it doesn't have to be that. It can just be the kid's stool or, look, this is really going to date me, y'all, but I remember my mom used to use a stack of phone books for like all kind of, like she would take duct tape and tape them. So get creative. You don't have to buy anything fancy.
I was thinking yoga block, but I really like yours better.
Well, who has a phone book anymore? Look, y'all, I'm 40.
Every once in a while, they show up at our door, and I'm like, "What is this?"
I mean, my kids would not know what to think.
It's a relic.
A phone book showed up, they'd be like, "Mom, yeah."
Mine legit did that.
Right.
Anyway,
okay, so get creative.
Prop your feet up.
Prop your feet up, Mama. It's going to save your back, your hips, and your pelvis and pelvic floor from a lot of pulling and strain and discomfort. The next piece, which is hugely important, like you were talking about the whole shoulders positioning thing, pillows again, the Boppy or the My Breast Friend or whatever your favorite breastfeeding pillow is not remotely enough. So you have the goal here is not to bring breast down to baby. It's to bring baby up to breast, right?
In my case, that's not even possible. I don't go that far down.
Mine don't either. I always feel like I have to disclaim when I discuss this topic that I'm not well endowed. I do not have large breasts. So maybe if you do, you need less pillows. I don't really know.
Right. If you can lean back and feed your baby, props to you, man. Because I sure can't.
But then look, you also have to deal with gravity later in a way that we probably don't. So trade-offs, always trade-offs.
Yeah.
But anyway, so look, take the pillows and have them all over the house. Wherever you know you're going to be breastfeeding, leave extra pillows because you want to take enough pillows under that elbow, whichever arm inside you're holding the baby, wedge enough pillows under that elbow such that you can relax your shoulder muscles, your neck muscles. You've got the pillow behind your back already, so you're not straining to sit up. So once you get that elbow properly propped up, so baby is brought up to breast and you are not leaning over, hunching over, you can relax your shoulders, your elbow, your arm, your wrist as much as possible. Look, I'm telling you, this is game changing. The number of women, because I also, like you said in the beginning, I also have a body work practice that I still work in. And I treat so many moms for this is for the long term. Again, 2,000 hours a year or some such wild number of being in this posture really can be detrimental if you don't have the right support for your body. So it can protect you against things like carpal tunnel, like tennis elbow sorts of things. You can get all kind of discomfort in your neck and shoulders. And then look, if you accidentally get too used to that rounded posture, you know what's going to happen. You're going to be driving and you're going to have one of those moments where the toddler is screaming for a snack or the pacifier fell out of their mouth and you're like doing the backseat reach, right? We all know the backseat reach if we've been moms. Get the passy back in quick, pick up the sippy cup so you don't have to scream for 40 minutes on the way to wherever we're going. If you've gotten weak in that rounded shoulder forward posture, not only are you going to have neck pain, you're also going to be more likely to be the one to come into my clinic or someone else's with a rotator cuff shoulder injury because of the backseat reach. So, this stuff has far-reaching consequences on top of which, if you're hunched and that pressurizes your abdomen, which causes increased pressure down on your pelvic floor, which is not going to do you any favors in that area of recovery either. So, again, latch comes first, nourishing baby comes first. When you've got that established, please take these simple action steps to take care of you. And this is a really great thing to give dad as homework, right? The men they're problem solvers. They're action takers. They want to help. So this is their chore list. Whenever you see me breastfeeding, make sure I have enough pillows. Check my posture. Bring them to me if you don't see me with them. Not only do you need the cup of water there always with the breastfeeding.
I was going to say, bring the water too.
Bring the water. But dad, bring all the pillows too to protect mom's shoulders. She needs to have a lot of baby carrying to do, a lot of diaper bag carrying to do, a lot of backseat reaching to do. And we want shoulders, neck, and core protected in this tender, vulnerable recovery time.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to also put a plug in there for hospital administrators. This is why we need an increased pillow budget in the hospital.
Please, cheers to that. More pillows.
Come on.
More pillows.
Are you pregnant and planning a hospital birth? You don't need a birth plan. You need a birth vision. In my opinion, birth plans set you up for failure. Yep, I said it. Hear me out before you turn off this podcast. You may think that by downloading a generic birth plan, it means you're in control. The truth is, it's not that simple. No one can control exactly how their birth will go. There are way too many variables. What every pregnant person wants is to walk into the hospital pregnant and to walk out with a healthy newborn in their arms. The journey in between is the murky part. It's hard to know what issues might come up that need to be addressed. If you focus your energy on a birth vision rather than giving your power to a birth plan, you can empower yourself to make the best choices for you and your baby. That's why you need to get into my Empowered Hospital Birth program. As a labor nurse and mindset coach, I can help guide you through the process of maintaining the calm autonomy that will help you achieve the birth vision you desire. In my Empowered Hospital Birth program, I will help you identify the source of anxiety you have surrounding hospital birth, fill in knowledge gaps to make sure that you are fully informed and confident, learn key phrases so you can better communicate with your medical team, emotionally process your fears so that they don't hold power over you. Go to kellyhoff.com/empowered to book a free 30-minute private birth vision call, where we will identify your top fears and must-haves and gain clarity on exactly how you want to feel in the birth space. That's kellyhoff.com/empowered. I'm honored to be a part of your birth journey. Some days I will walk into, and granted, part of the reason that labor and delivery doesn't have pillows is because they all end up on postpartum, rightfully so. But we do our first breastfeeding on labor and delivery. So it is imperative to be able to have enough. And there's no such thing. It's too many pillows in a hospital.
Girl,
so please increase the hospital budget.
Drink to that.
Yes.
These little things make such a difference because, especially labor and delivery, we're talking about immediate postpartum. So you've never been weaker. I should really speak for myself, how I felt after 26 hours or 40 hours of labor, right? You've never needed that support more. So yes, hospital administrators, please get more pillows to labor and delivery for breastfeeding, ergonomics, and postpartum.
Yes. All of it. All of it. Just on the women's and infants line.
All the pillows.
We just need a pillow funnel is what we need. Just shoot them in, like the thing at the ballpark.
Yeah, the padsicles and the pillows.
The padsicles and the pillows. That's what we need. Yes.
I love it.
Definitely.
I love it. Look, and there are other things you can do. That's the initial setup, right? But then something as simple as getting down on the floor to do a cat-cow, a good afterwards, or a good child's pose to open up those shoulders, stretch all around those shoulder blades, just gently mobilize the low back and hips, because you are going to be more likely in a kind of a still position like breastfeeding, because your core and pelvic floor are still going to be weak. You're going to be more likely to feel that kind of compression from gravity, even if you're well supported. So give yourself the gift of 2 extra minutes. Plop down on the floor, put baby down next to you, and give yourself a cat-cow and a child's pose stretch or some trunk rotation. Something that simple is a game changer to keep you feeling.
Tummy time for baby and stretch time for mom.
Absolutely, yes.
Unless after eating, I don't know if tummy time is the most.
Yeah, no, good point.
Burp first.
All right, burp first. If you're
good burp.
If any of yours spit up as much as mine did, I remember I never left
do that upright time and then tummy time.
I would never put mine down on their backs without a burp cloth underneath their head. Because no matter, I just had with the pillows, I also had the burp cloths everywhere. Because inevitably you put them down on that one piece of furniture that's your favorite, and it's there it goes.
Oh, that's why we had leather. I was as soon as I knew we were going to have kids, I was like, everything has to be wiped down. I'm sorry. I'm not doing that laundry.
That's strategic. And I've gone the opposite way. I just kind of gave up all hope of salvaging. So I just stuck with the really old dilapidated furniture, because I'm I can't justify buying anything new. It's going to be crumbs and greasy fingers and spit up. And then I talked to, Jen, my business partner's Well, girl, I got to tell you, like, it doesn't get any better when they're teenagers. They come in with their shoes on, they jump on the couch, they leap over it. I'm like, oh, so I should never get new furniture. Is that what? And for like
can't have
18
nice things.
years.
I just want you to know that.
Joe.
No. And hopefully when they put you in the nursing home, they'll have the pretty furniture for you.
Right. Well, or like my Pilates teacher, she's got empty nesting and she just got this gorgeous new white couch. And it's like, oh, that's when you do that. Okay. Taking notes.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Nothing to hope for in the near future.
Oh, yeah.
So I just thought of when we can do that exercise. Okay. So I remember I have to go back like 4 years to remember the order of operations after breastfeeding, right? It's that eat, activity, sleep cycle.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So if we're eating, right? Baby's eating, and then I'm just going to go ahead and assume your baby has reflux because,
spit up happens.
Right. Spit up happens. So you burp your baby, you do your little 10 to 15 minutes of upright time, right? And do some activity there. And then you can get on the yoga mat and then do your cat-cow while your baby's doing that tummy time. You've already got your boppy or your my best friend where they're going to be like leaning up on that. And then you just do your cat-cow and your stretches and everything then. So
absolutely.
That solves everything.
Absolutely. Look, yeah. So now that we've solved the world's problems. Oh, right. Look, and there's one more tip I forgot to mention. Okay. So the bonus tip is, look, I know sometimes I'll speak for myself. Sometimes when I was breastfeeding, I wanted to just like be so fully in the zen with that oxytocin rush going to my head and just like bliss out with my baby. Other times I needed that time to be like, okay, what's the rest of the world doing? I need to connect with people who have a life outside of this. And I would want to get on my phone and scroll social media and just vicariously tap into what outside life looks like. And so if it's one of those breastfeedings where you need to be on your phone, I get it, do it. But make sure now you need pillows under the other arm because the worst thing for the base of your skull up there, those two little lumps at the bottom of top of your neck, bottom of your head, is that kind of craning forward. Like that thing that happens when you're looking at the computer screen and you can't read it and you're like in your 40s now and you're realizing you probably that thing, or like the street signs. You
need reading glasses.
The street signs just too far away and you're like,
when did that happen?
Where you slide, that's not going to happen to us. So when you slide your head forward, which can happen if you're having that phone time, that compresses the base of your skull. And look, there is a myriad of stuff that comes from that. Your fight or flight nerve comes out from the base of your skull right there. So, and then you're also the cranial nerve that goes to your upper traps comes out there. So if you start getting that compressed back there, it's going to make you feel more spun up. Nobody needs that as in the survival state of new motherhood. And it's going to further contribute to that neck and shoulder tightness. So add a pillow for the other arm where you're holding the phone and make sure you've got the pop socket or the loopy so you can keep your wrist in like a neutral position instead of like craning or cranking it. And on that side too. So you're protecting both arms, both shoulders so that you can get the most out of it without hurting yourself.
Amazing. That is some great advice. And I just want to say that I love my loopy that I have.
See, there you go.
I was a pop socket girl until I found the magnet on the back. And
it's the little things. I mean, like,
it really is. I can't hang on to my phone.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. I can't see and I can't hang on to my phone, which makes life hard.
Yeah, no, of course.
Or the worst, dropping your phone on your baby.
Oh gosh. I'm trying to think. I'm sure I did it. I was probably too tired to remember. I do remember.
I mean, I know I drop it on my face all the time.
Oh, well, completely. I do remember the first time my daughter, she was like 9 months old. And we didn't have this stuff growing up. I'll speak for myself. I remember she took my phone and she swiped to unlock it. And I was like, was that an accident? Surely she didn't know how to do that yet. And I like locked it again and handed it back to her and she did it again. So that's not proof. I do not have proof that she could unlock my phone at 9 months old. But
I just found a fun swipe.
But I don't know. It kind of looks like she could. I'm like, holy moly mackerel. This is a whole new journey with kids with all this tech.
Wow. Yeah.
But yeah.
That's crazy.
So, I mean,
it's also scary. So I'm going to have to make sure that I'm going to be watching my kids and make sure that they're like not hunching. I try to get them to lay down when they're using their iPad.
Oh, girl, yeah. And prop your arms, elbows up, prop the device up. These things, yeah, they matter for our kids too. Absolutely. And there are chiropractors who work on kids. That's another thing. One of the things for new moms that we recommend the most is making sure you get to see some kind of skilled provider who can check your alignment. The ones we love to refer to, I do kind of integrative or craniosacral therapy. That's a great gentle bodywork option for you. But we also refer to Webster certified chiropractors. So do you love, are they right? So they have a special skill set where they can check and adjust the joint at the front of the pelvis, the pubic joint. And that is absolutely imperative for pelvic floor health and healing because look, pelvic floor is just a bowl of musculature that holds your guts in. Okay. There are no bones holding your organs in from below. That is all pelvic floor. It's muscles and soft tissue. And it's been through a lot after childbirth. And I don't care how you delivered. If you deliver via C-section, it's still been through a lot because it basically carried a bowling ball on it for 40 weeks, right? So carrying full-term pregnancy happens either way. So we need to give our pelvic floor gentle grace and time to heal. And part of that can be breath work is wonderful. And I love the way I heard you talk about expanding. Somebody else on your show talked about expanding the rib cage in 3 dimensions. That is hugely important because your weight goes so far forward. We often end up shallow breathing into just the front of our ribs and flaring. So part of rebalancing the pressure and the well-being of your whole abdomen and pelvis is breathing into the sides and back of your ribs again. I'm getting way off track. That's a great thing to practice with cat and cow.
That is something that I would repeat over and over again for moms.
So back to but the Webster certified chiropractor has the training to adjust that pubic joint. Your pelvic floor muscles connect in the front on your pubic joint. So what we see all the time, and you will not hear this no one else is talking about this, especially if you have urgency or frequency with pee, or you have any groin or inner thigh pain, either during pregnancy or really at any time postpartum, getting in to see that Webster certified chiropractor to get your pubic joint checked and adjusted is an incredibly powerful way to help reset pelvic floor so it doesn't try to go into spasm, holding your joint in the right place, causing more bladder issues. But it also helps relieve that groin and inner thigh pain. So so many simple, accessible things you can do that are game changers. And that is one of them for postpartum and beyond. Yeah. So these things are super important, but hopefully accessible to most people. I know Webster certified chiros are way more prevalent than they used to be. And it's just a great, easy option.
Yeah. And you go before you have your baby because
right. And after, right. Cause you need both.
Before and after.
And it's not scary. So it's nothing internal, nothing invasive, nothing aggressive. It is all gentle. And they have that special training to work on pregnant and postpartum bodies. And everything Jen and I teach is always from a holistic standpoint. It's always pulling back the viewfinder, giving the body that gentle nudge it needs to go in the direction that it was already trying to go. And that is our approach to pelvic floor health as well. We ended up in the journey that we did starting Tightner Tinkler so organically, like neither one of us had this path planned out at all. Right? I'm sure much like you're guided here and you find yourself and you're like, I was meant to be here, but wow, I never could have pictured this. And Jen
never
and I
saw it coming.
No, we connected through our own, postpartum healing journeys. We had very different birth experiences. Hers were more traumatic, mine less so, but we both still needed care to heal afterwards. And we did not like the options we were being offered of, we tried the Kegels. They didn't work, because it doesn't even make sense. You're squeezing, do you strengthen any other muscle without movement? No. And the only reason these things are being recommended is because it's the best anyone had thought of. But we went on, we were like, okay, Jen was pitched a pelvic floor reconstructive surgery at 36 and was like, absolutely not. She got diagnosed with prolapse and I was having pelvic floor issues. And we were like, we're going to find a better way. And we went to a continuing education conference and sure enough, we did. And we started using this protocol with ourselves and we were like, wow, this is life altering. So we started using it with our clients. And then we got the harebrained idea that we needed to turn all these data points into publishable research so we could make a big splash. We're like, this is going to be our mark on the world. So we partnered with a professor did 3 years of a university research study to test and validate the protocol we'd come up with because it was working so well. We're like, we've got to get this out there. And no dreams at that point of creating a business out of it at all. We were clinicians and we were like, this is going to be our big splash. We did it. It was wild. And the article was published in the Journal of Women's and Pelvic Health Physical Therapy. So it is out there. But the women in our research kept coming back asking, can you make a video of this? Like, this has changed my life. I need to share this with my sister, but she's in Virginia. And my mother-in-law actually really needs this. And my cousin, and they're in different states. And we're like, we have to listen to these women. So, we've been led here and we're like, we've got to do this. We've got to get this out there faster than the slowly churning cogwheels of research in Western medicine. The research is out there. So that was important to us. Yeah. But then that research also allows us now to say, we have a solution. Here's how we know it can work. We've tested it. So yes, we have testimonials. We have our personal stories, but we also have the data. And for us, that was really important so that we knew.
That is really important.
We knew what we were putting out there. We could fully stand behind and know exactly what we could promise and what we couldn't, because the approach we take is outside the box compared to what else is out there. But it's an absolute honor to connect with and serve women in this way, because what we offer is an alternative to what else is out there. And every woman has to turn inward when you're dealing with something as personal as pelvic floor issues or prolapse. You want to heal that diastasis, that abdominal separation, or you're dealing with the back and hip tightness that you didn't have before. How you address that is so personal, and you really have to turn inward and see what feels right to you. So if in-person therapy is the right fit, that's great. But I also know a lot of moms who don't have access to that, or it's too far away, or they can't get out of the house. And we're able to offer an at-home solution that is validated to work and that's accessible that way. And so it is truly an honor and a gift to be able to put that out into the world and reach women who that is aligned for, and who want exactly that approach and are like so grateful when they found it. And we're just overwhelmed with gratitude that we've been led on this crazy path because,
it's so important too, because I just remember with my first, I didn't do anything except for chiropractics after delivery. And I was in Pilates before, but then we moved and I couldn't get back in. And I was by myself in a new town, stay-at-home mom at the time, and just like, okay, I guess I'm just going to let this kind of play out the way it plays out. But with my second, I was like, I can't deny this. I have to do something.
Yes.
And I know I wasn't sitting right. I know I wasn't, I tried all the pillows and all that stuff. But I think, I have always had pelvic dysfunction, not necessarily pelvic floor, but just a weird tilt to my pelvis.
Yes, you're not alone.
And I don't think that helped anything.
Well, right. It can make it more challenging. Yes.
But I had, what were the options that were given to me? One of the practices that I worked with does laser reconstruction. And I asked my dad, who's a surgeon, what that was all about. And he was like, I think that means scar tissue. They're basically healing you by forming scar tissue. And he's like, that might cause more dysfunction.
I completely agree. Well, look here. And this is exactly what I was talking about. There are so many options out there. And to Jen and I, we were like, we had read about all that stuff and we had absolute clarity. We were not interested in that. Right. It was like,
that doesn't sound very pleasant anyway.
No. And we tried the Kegels. They don't work. And for some women, it helps a certain degree. But what you really need is something functional to get the muscles that turned back on working without it being a conscious thing. But like I was saying, the only reason I believe those other things are still taught and used is because people don't know there's a better way yet.
I just know that I couldn't even connect, like my brain and my lower abdomen right above my pubic bone were not connected. They were like not in the same body anymore. It was the weirdest thing. And I couldn't, I remember going to an exercise class and they were like, okay, you're going to slowly lower your legs to the floor while you're laying supine. So you're laying face up, right? And I got to a certain point and my legs would just fall.
Yes. Or for so many women, you get that coning if you have the abdominal separation or the DR.
Yeah, I had that too.
Yeah, so don't push into anything that causes that, right? That's your body saying, no, not yet, please. But, our research also proves through the same protocol that heals the pelvic floor issues, if your DR is 3 finger widths or less, you can heal it at home conservatively through the same series that also heals the pelvic floor and bladder issues. Because truly it is about tapping into the body's innate healing capabilities when you give it the right nudge to go where it was trying to go anyway. It is just phenomenally powerful. So many women joint because of like leaks or pressure, and they're looking for the relief there. And it's really telling how deeply we've, as societally, have accepted some of this dysfunction as just the way it is, because they come back 2 weeks later and they say, okay, all that stuff I joined for is getting better already. But like the thing that's really blowing my mind is that I'm sleeping through the night again. I'm not getting up to pee. And they're like, I did not think that was possible. And we talk about it and we tell them it's possible, but it is so ingrained that this is stuff we just have to live with, but it is not true.
I think I'm going to sign up for your program just for a refresher, because
look, it is super cool. We teach relief techniques and we teach the movement series. That's the exercise piece. So it's not, it's a toolbox of self-checks, relief tools, and the movement series. That's the real gold, because it's not just because as you're building strength, you're going to have setbacks. That's how every recovery happens, right? For me, it's like, okay, well, I remember we went on vacation and my 4-year-old needed to be carried on a hike, like way longer. I thought he was well rested, well fed. He wasn't going to, but I ended up having to carry him for way longer than I thought. And that's just one tiny example, but especially with kids, these things happen, and you're going to have those moments where you're like, okay, man, I was really making progress here, but now I'm really flared. But when you strap on a toolbox, a tool belt of things make you feel better at home right away, then you can keep building the strength. It takes the fear out of it too. Look, Jen and I have lived this, and we have said this, and the women who come work with us have said this. When you're dealing with these issues, you start to it has a cloud over your whole existence. You start to feel like my body is broken. My body has betrayed me. I thought I was built for this. And it is a huge weight to think, is there help? I don't know if I'm ever going to feel confident in my body again. But what I want more than anything is for all women to hear a message of hope, that that does not have to be the end of your story, no matter who told you what else. I promise. And if you're not certain, we have a quick 5-minute quiz. We call it our root cause quiz. What we did is take the research validated questionnaires that we used to track progress in the study and turn them into an online quiz. The whole set of questions, so that what women have shared with us, though, is that going to take that in 5 minutes, you start to quickly realize how connected so many issues that women are kind of splicing into separate little boxes. This is this thing over here, but this is this other issue, are actually all connected. They share a common root cause, and they can be fixed all at once. So taking that quiz is very eye-opening in that way very quickly. That's on our website, our Instagram. Another thing I want to make sure everybody has access to is our free decompression technique for at home. It includes breath work teaching, like the rib cage expansion I talked about, but it's just a position you put yourself in at home. This is great for after breastfeeding, to let the neck and shoulders, it puts gravity on your side. It's like giving yourself a little self-adjustment in 10 minutes at home with no equipment required. You put yourself in a position that allows the back, the hips, the pelvis, the pelvic floor to relax, release, and down-regulates your fight or flight system all at once. This is like rest multitasking at its finest.
I feel like I need to do that a lot.
Oh, it's amazing. It's incredible. It's an absolute gift. So I'll make sure you have a link to that as well.
Yes,
it's a
definitely.
great.
I'll put that all in the show notes, and I'm gonna have we're gonna come up with a coupon code as well.
Yes, absolutely,
for your program.
Absolutely, $50 off. And if you are a mama who's listening to this and you haven't had kids yet, and you're like, I would like to prevent this from becoming my story.
Yes.
We're getting more interest of that nature. And so we did create a prevention program for healing from home after birth, so that you don't end up needing the signature program that we offer to heal. So we have that as well. That coupon code's for $50 off, and it will work for either one of those offerings. So whether you are already dealing with issues and you need to heal, or whether you're like proactive prevention, I don't want to end up there, we have an offering to guide you through that as well.
My one question is, so when I did pelvic floor physical therapy, and let me just tell you, that was a challenge.
That is why we are glad to provide an alternative. Let's just
thank you. First of all, my pelvic floor physical therapist, loved her, but she wasn't a mom yet. And she was always teasing me because I literally would walk in every day in my rain boots. It didn't have to be raining. I was always wearing my rain boots and leggings, and I had my son.
There was a miracle.
I was like, "Girl, I'm here."
I mean, like high fives all around for actually getting.
Because my infant son was with me, right?
Oh my gosh, see,
so
that's hard.
Which thank you to her for allowing me to bring my child, right? Because otherwise I would have had to get a babysitter. And I wasn't ready to give him to a babysitter. But I was like, I'm just wearing shoes. And that's what I'm happy about today.
And just made it out of the house. Yeah. Whew.
I did. I digress. My biggest thing was she would ask me, did you do the exercises this week? And I'm like, nope. Because I couldn't work it into my day.
No. And so, yeah.
But she did work with me to help me with that. So I'm assuming you've probably taken the guesswork out of that part. I'm assuming you've thought of that.
Oh, girl, we just did actually. So for members of our signature program, it is in some ways a DIY program, but it is also accompanied by membership in our members only private community, which is an incredibly special place of women who are on their healing journey, supporting each other, but also receiving coaching from us to really dial in the details. And we do two challenges a year. We're actually just finishing our back to school challenge, where it is all about how do we fit this into our lives? How do we prioritize this? It's routine coaching and that sort of thing, habit coaching, because that is a piece of success here. And Jen and I designed this protocol as moms. So it had to fit into our lives first. So that is why I can confidently say you can fit it into your life. And it's absolutely incredible. It's a 10-minute movement series. Truly it's unbelievable. And the thing is, when you start to feel changes as quickly as this will do, it's amazing you develop this internal motivation to fit it into your life. Because when you start to feel the positive change, you're like, oh, I'm going to keep doing this. It's not the kind of exercise that you have to force yourself to do because you feel the change happening so quickly. You're like, whoa, all right, I'm going to fit this in.
That sounds amazing. That's exactly what I need to do because honestly, when I look at what's going on in my life, first of all, that rotator cuff thing, that I'm living that. It's getting better, but I'm living it.
Shoulder stuff is hard to rehab. I've been there and done that. Right. And the shoulder is so complex. I mean, I can geek out about any of this stuff, but the shoulder has very little bony support. Our hip is this really deep socket. The shoulder is it might not be.
Mine's
hip
not
sockets are different, all designed differently in different angles and everything. But the shoulder is more like a golf ball on a tee. So in order for the mechanics for the shoulder to be reset, it's all about fine-tuned muscular balance. And it is really complicated. So I do hope you're with a very skilled professional helping you with that.
I am with a Webster technique chiropractor.
How wonderful.
Right now.
Okay, girl, yeah.
She's the one that got me through my second pregnancy and all that.
Look, I'm preaching to the choir
honestly,
here then.
It's a labor and delivery nurse thing also, because if you the reason that my rotator cuff is so messed up is because I put people's foot when they're pushing.
Oh my
gosh, here.
Yes.
Which was the stupidest thing I could ever done. I'm learning how to redo my mechanics.
Well, but it's also as we get older, we have to treat our bodies a little differently. I'll speak for myself at 40.
I am going to be 45.
So you feel me.
Mid 40s, yes.
So maybe it wasn't.
All of the things are falling apart.
Maybe it wasn't a bad idea at 25. Right. But this is part of all of our journey.
Probably.
Our body tells our whole story of our life's journey. So we start to accumulate these little things and realize hey, what worked at 25 may not work at 40, but we can find a different way.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm excited to learn more about what I can do in this program. And I'm going to be adding, for sure, links to the show notes and the coupon code and all that fun stuff. And I'm probably going to be putting it on every podcast because,
girl, absolutely,
it is very important.
Well, and look, we are everywhere. If your interest or curiosity is piqued, you're I really want to see what these girls are about, or you have some questions, the kind that you're almost kind of scared to Google, go to our YouTube channel because we have spent so much time and energy. Any question we got a lot, we need to make a teaching on this. So we have I think we have 100 YouTube videos, but if you can also email us if you're I really just need some direction to know where to start. hello@tightnertinkler.com. Of course, tightnertinkler.com website, but you can find us on YouTube. We're Tighten Your Tinkler there with tons of deep dive kind of rabbit hole sort of stuff on anything pelvic floor, core, prolapse related. We go into bowel function and exercise and intimacy and all these areas that are important and related to the functioning of that area of our body. And we're on Instagram, tighten.your.tinkler. We're all over the place. Find us, check us out, reach out. There's no such thing as TMI. That is our specialty. And and if we don't have the answer, we'll direct you to where the best place we know of where you can find it, because this mission is truly heart-centered and it came from our own struggles with these issues first. And we love nothing more than helping each woman find the path that they feel called to, whatever that is, to find relief.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so important.
Yeah.
Was there anything that we didn't touch on?
I think we covered it all. And if anybody's listening thinking like, I'm not sure that you did, I have some more questions, let us know. We'd be happy to answer them.
Send it to both of us, because you know what? We could have another episode on that. If we forgot something,
absolutely,
I'm here for it.
We'll circle back.
All right. Well, Christina, thank you so much for joining me. That was amazing. And I'm gonna check out your program.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for tuning into my podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future episodes. Don't forget to share the podcast with a friend who can benefit from the valuable insights that we share here. And if you could take a moment to leave a 5-star rating and review, it would mean the world to me. If you're ready to work one-on-one with me to embark on a transformational journey towards a confident and empowered hospital birth experience, go to kellyhoff.com/empowered and enroll in my Empowered Hospital Birth Coaching Program. Together, we'll create a roadmap to a birth experience that you'll cherish forever. That's KELLYHOF.com/empowered. Let's make your birth experience extraordinary.